Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good day or a night, wherever you might be. It's been a while, about a month. I haven't uploaded anything because of busy schedules, some holidays, personal issues, and just the whole negativity of online news that's been keeping us busy. I'm not going to comment on them. Maybe one day. But anyway, they're back. I've talked about Canada. I was gonna say I've talked enough about Canada, but I haven't. I haven't talked enough, but I think it's enough for now. I might talk about it later. I was gonna talk about the Canadian work environment. That you need episodes and episodes, maybe a book, to talk about the Canadian work culture and what it's like. But we'll leave that for later. I've been in Turkey for about, I don't know, 16 months maybe. The summer of 2018, we got here. And it's been quite an experience. Um, I knew very little, virtually nothing about life in Turkey when I came to live here. All the knowledge I had about Turkey, I had gathered directly and indirectly, mainly through TV shows and TV series that my family and I had watched through illegal satellite in Iran. And that's not really a good source because it's not really giving you an idea of what life is like. It's giving you an idea of what types of TV dramas Turkish writers and directors like to produce. So it's not really a good indication of what life in Turkey is like. So, today I'm going to tell you, in no particular order, some of my impressions of life in Turkey. I'd like to state that my impressions of life in Turkey are the impressions of a foreigner who has lived in Iran and Canada and the UK and Malaysia and knows the language and the culture but is not really Turkish, um, who can sort of blend in and pretend like he's from Turkey, especially when you don't talk to me much and you don't know that I have a bit of an accent going on. So I can sort of observe the society quite well, at least from an outsider's perspective. But then again, these are the viewpoints of somebody who's been here for just over a year. Also, these are the viewpoints of somebody who's living in Istanbul, who has not really seen much of Turkey. I've traveled a little bit, but not much. These are also the viewpoints of a person who's living in a certain area of Istanbul. And, I do travel around sometimes, but different neighborhoods of cities have different types of cultures and traditions, and some of them are more affluent than others. Some of them are more traditional than others. So take it with a grain of salt, and also know that different people's experiences of living in Turkey are different because of their presuppositions and expectations and traditions and personality. So this is just my idea of what Turkey's like. It's basically observations. Other people might come along and prove me wrong or disagree with me. The first time I came to Turkey actually was not in 2018, but a few years prior to that. I had a layover that was quite long, and I went into the city. I thought, you know what, I've never been to Turkey. Let me just walk around and see what it's like. I got onto the subway. I went inside the city, somewhere sort of deep within, close to the Bosphorus. And I had a meal. I bought some baklava and just walked around the city. My first impression then was a bit of a surprise as to what the city itself looked like. My impression of most cities in the Middle East, I know that Turkey may not be branded as the Middle East, but a Muslim majority country is what I mean. My impression was, well, you'd walk the streets of Tehran and Istanbul and Damascus and, Muscat and all that, and they would be somewhat similar. Of course, that is because of my ignorance, but that's what I thought. And my first surprise was how uniquely different the city, I was going to say city planning was, but I'm just going to say the architecture and the streets and the way they connected to each other, and the mosques and the way the city looked. It's very unique. It is extremely hard to uh, mistake Istanbul for any other place or any other place for Istanbul. You could take a picture of the back streets of Turkey and you'd know that this is Turkey for numerous reasons. It's one reason is because of the Bosphorus, what the Turks call the Boz. Uh, it sort of it's visible in the most unexpected of moments. You'd be walking through some back street in Istanbul, and you'd be thinking, well, the Bosphorus is God knows in what direction, and then suddenly you'd turn a corner, and the Bosphorus, I'd say, to be a little poetic, is the life-giving vein of the city. Not to mention this country, maybe. It's beautiful. Different times of day, it looks different. There are days that are misty, there are days that are foggy, there are days that are sunny. The morning is different, the noon is different, the night is different. And you never get tired of seeing this thing. It's as if it's everywhere, and it gives beauty to everything. And there are bridges over the Bosphorus, and there are huge commercial ships and security boats and little tiny, what they call vapur, the little passenger boats, and then little fishing boats, and all sorts of birds and seagulls and jellyfish and dolphins, just everything. It's the life of the city. And it's unique. It's the place where East and West meet. It's the place where Asia and Europe meet. And it's just so independently unique, so singularly unique. And and then on top of that, you look at Istanbul from any angle, and it's hills upon hills and water upon water, and each neighborhood has myriads of mosques, and the minarets are sticking out, and it's just magnificent. I'm believe me, this I don't think this is an exaggeration. This is just pure observation. So the way the city looked to me back then and now is what made Istanbul unique. Just the pure, every direction you turn, it's like a painting or a beautiful photograph. And the more you live here, the more it works its way, it seeps into your being. And then when you go to a city where there's no water and no Bosphorus, it's like you're missing something. Something's not right. So I'm approaching the 10 minutes. I will stop here, and we will continue with a new episode next time. Thank you very much, and enjoy your day or night, wherever you might be. Thank you very much.